Okay, so we are having a social service funding committee meeting on April 27th. We just talked about approving the request for Bethel UCC for use of $2,000 to use on gift cards for Fred Meyers for families at Beaverton High School. And now we're going to chat a little bit about group agreements. So let me see if I can bring this up. Share screen. Okay. Can you all see those? Are they showing up or is it just my email? Okay, cool. So this is what we have right now. So I think first one, step up, step back. So we will have, just as a reminder, the way it's going to go tonight, we have 20-minute sessions, but 15 are really for the organizations. 5 is kind of the time of getting them on, and then also switching to the next people. So they'll have 5 minutes to present. I do have signs, cute signs here, to signal them that they're running out of time. So I'll be timekeeping through this. They'll have the 5 minutes to present, and then you all will have 10 minutes of Q&A. So what we have agreed to in the past is just try to ask one question at a time, instead of like 3 or 4 questions, and just try and make space for other committee members to ask questions. But certainly, usually we have time for quite a few questions, so don't be shy about asking them. This is less noticeable now, but just as you ask questions, try to frame them respectfully. A lot of them are really nervous about coming in and doing this, especially since a lot of them are first time, especially the ones we're going to see tonight are all first time. So just keep that in mind. Try and make some eye contact over Zoom, and just, yeah, hold on to like any sort of distractions until we like break from interviews. I will give you all a warning as well when we're getting towards the end of Q&A. So I'll say like last question or something like that. So don't try to sneak another question in. Just be cognizant of time. And then I think the last piece we had on here was just trying to limit, and I think you all have done a really good job of this so far, even in some of the early consensus building, but just limit the sharing of personal experiences that you've had with organizations. Let's try and rely on the application, the reports that we have, if they're currently funded or have been funded in the past. And obviously we don't have this year, but site visits. So there's a lot of historical knowledge within this group. That's all totally fine. And certainly if there is something where it's a question and you know you can clarify it, you're more than welcome to. The only time when you all need to clearly state any sort of conflict is if you would financially benefit from the grant that would be given to any of these organizations. But always nice to let the committee know or step back if you don't feel like you can be unbiased in any situation. So I think you all do a pretty good job of that. But those are the group agreements we have standing right now. Are there any that you all think we need to add or that don't feel relevant anymore? What do you think?
Hey, I have a question about stepping aside. So it's just the financial part of financial gain, but what about any involvement with an organization, either as an employee or on their board, or having, been involved with them in any other way?
You're welcome to share if you want to, but it's up to you. Yeah. I'm gonna stop share on that piece. Okay. So will somebody remind me from the group how we decided to do questions last year? Do you want to type your name in the type your name into the chat and then I'll call on you? Do you all just want to kind of like jump in as you see fit? How do you think you want the question part to go?
Remember last year, I think we jumped in as we saw fit, but maybe because I was in a classroom for 3 hours today confronting this, maybe the raise hand feature could be another option for people who are more reticent. I don't know.
Do we have a raised hand feature on here?
It's the clapping hand.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go into.
You guys want to practice raising your hand? Oh, I see.
Where is the clapping hand?
In reactions, you can use a clapping hand.
You can raise your hand too.
Reactions.
Yeah, there's a raised hand thing.
Is it in chat?
Oh yeah.
More?
Oh, there. Okay. Jerome, yours blended into the background for a second, so I was like, "Where's the raised hand?"
That's just if people want to do that. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I was just throwing it out there. If people felt that they want to also include that, if they're trying to say something and they haven't spoken for a while.
No, I think that could be really handy. Just
No pun intended, right?
yeah, handy.
How do
yeah,
I get rid of this?
Maybe that's helpful just so that you all know who has a question then. And then I can help just facilitate from there. I'll accept clapping hands or raising hands.
Okay, so okay, so it just stays on for a moment then? Or did somebody just did you just get rid of my clapping hand?
No, you have to go to the 3 dots by your name and you click on the 3 dots.
Okay, so I've got the reaction. I did the clap, I got that. Now, how do I get rid of that?
If you use the clap, it'll go away by itself.
Okay, good. Okay.
But
Okay.
if you want to lower your hand, you need to go to the 3 dots on top of your name or in your picture. Click on
Okay.
that. The first choice is lower hand.
Okay.
Got
Okay,
it?
good. I'll make it work.
We got double Melissa now.
She's double important.
He gets 2 votes.
2 votes. Okay, cool. Well, that makes that easy. I'll probably just use colors, not the backwards. These are backwards to you too, right?
No, that's right.
Does it show up? Oh, it's just to me that it looks.
Yeah, I don't know
Mirrored.
how it mirrors the image somehow, but so when we did this in person, we told them not to bring handouts because it was distracting. But I think we talked about they can do like a video testimonial or something like that. Do you know if any of them are going to do that?
I told them they could not do any video just because the like lining up of it was kind of tricky. I think last year we did have some folks who sent some stuff like over email, but that was also because we had some like additional questions, after interviews and on COVID and that type of thing. So if there are things, I will try and take notes, but if there are things that you all feel like we still need follow-up on, so if either they can't answer it right here or there's something else we need, I will keep a running tally of those things.
Okay. So it sounds like we're not really using the chat for anything.
No,
Okay, I'll close
I
it.
don't think so.
Okay, now Megan, this might not happen. I feel awkward or I feel bad for the presenters if nobody asks us a question. In other words, it's that sort of, you waste their time and also it does not look good on us. So shall we even discuss some possibilities. I know that we can't really force people to ask questions either. So that's the teacher in me that I do not want. I do not want the presenters to feel worse than they already sort of nervous.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Wei Wei. I am happy to just ask, or if any of you want to ask. I think some of what we've had in the past has just been like clarifying or tell me a little bit more about this piece of what you do, or if there's tell me a little bit more about one of the clients you served or something like that. So maybe there's a couple questions that we can have in our back pocket as a group to ask if there's nothing else kind of on the docket. How does that sound?
I agree. One of the questions that I've been looking at is, can you give examples of either your success or stories of people that you have served?
Yeah, I think that's great. And the nice piece is that so what I have shared, and I think most of the group that's been through this will recognize this at this point, but usually this first 5 minutes is going to be used as a narrative piece around who they have served and what the impact was. So generally, like if there are organizational things that aren't clear, you'll want to ask that. They're probably not going to clarify that in the first 5 minutes. So there will be plenty of time to do that in the question and answer piece. So let me double check. We have all new folks this evening. Some faces might look familiar, but they are new organizations. So the first one tonight is going to be the Beaverton Resource Center. Then we have Rise Beaverton, Work Systems, Wake Up Beaverton, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Dusty Heart Apartment Ministries. Excuse me. I have Renu's questions in case he's not able to make it here in time for a couple of those. But I think also looking at the questions, you all might ask them as well. So I will throw his questions out there if he doesn't make it here in time for those interviews.
Is it fair to ask the question, can you clarify how your application meets that City of Beaverton priority?
Yeah, I think that's, I think that seems fine. What do other folks think? Is there a specific application you have in mind, Mike?
I think the main one was probably Big Brothers Big Sisters. That sort of there's a aspect that indirectly that it meets the priority, but directly I have some question on it.
Yeah, I think that
okay.
never hurts to have them spell out some of those pieces in more detail. Cool. Okay. Well, we've got 2 minutes. I do see our first guests in there, so I will bring them in a minute, and then we'll get started. This is so exciting. Interviews. This is, I don't know, it's all my favorite. I enjoy going through this process with you all. Okay. All right, I'm gonna let them in. and we'll stick to the time, but just try and make sure technology is working. Welcome, Al. Sound working?
Still on mute, Al.
There we go. Is
Oh,
that better?
perfect. Great.
About that.
Welcome, Al. Thanks for
Hello
joining us. Nice to see you virtually.
Yes,
I
it's
think
been a while.
we have had the chance to see you in a different capacity before, so excited. And I think you didn't come in at all last year. So the virtual interview environment is new for you. So
It is.
so I'll just give a little bit of introduction to our group and a few reminders about the process, and then I will turn it over to you. It is largely going to be the same. I have our committee members here. There should be a lot of familiar faces. We have a couple of new board members that have joined us in the last year, and we are interviewing 12 of the applicants. Since Beaverton Resource Center is new, you all have an interview this year, so we can learn a little bit more. We had 32 applications total, which was about $503,000 in ask. We will have around 310,000 to give out this year. So a little bit of an increase from the past years. Of course, it will be a tough decision as always. So these folks will be figuring that out. So it will work the same as before. You'll have 5 minutes to present and then 10 minutes of Q&A with the committee. I still have the fancy color signs. So you have your 1 minute warning and your stop. And I think that's it. The last piece is just that the recommendation, the committee will be deliberating in May, and then we'll forward a recommendation to City Council on June 1st. So that is kind of the next step. That's the next time that you will hear from us regarding a final decision on the grant.
Good to know some things do not change.
We like to keep it familiar. So
Indeed.
With that, I will just turn it over to you and tell us a little bit about Beaverton Resource Center.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. I am Al Schmidt. I am a co-founder and executive director of the Beaverton Resource Center, and I do appreciate this opportunity to talk with all of you tonight. I know you have a very difficult job. I also consider it very difficult for me to only get 5 minutes to talk about the Resource Center, so I'm going to blow through quite a bit of stuff here. I do want to tell you a little bit about who we are. I want to talk about why I think the community needs us, and then finally, if I'm in your shoes, I want to know how is it that I know you're going to use these funds wisely? So I'm just going to read you a few things here. So the Beaverton Resource Center itself is founded on the understanding that economic instability is often the result of multiple interlaced issues. We bring together various social service organizations dedicated to addressing these numerous challenges, dealing with hunger, homelessness, and poverty. And we believe that this collaborative approach better facilitates care for those we serve within the community and allows them to see past their today's challenges into tomorrow's possibilities. The way we do that is, again, by bringing multiple community partners together. The power of this collective approach, we think, amplifies the capabilities of each organization, which in turn produces improved efficiencies and more comprehensive solutions. So how do we do that? There's really three key things that we think we offer. First and foremost, and why we're talking tonight, is financial assistance. If you can't see past your immediate challenges, we can talk all day with someone who's in trouble and it's not going to matter. So first and foremost, we have to address that. Second, it's always more than just one thing that's needed. And so we build this collaborative that allows us to do resource brokerage for things like food, clothing, household goods, medical, dental services, et cetera. So we can offer a more comprehensive set of solutions for the individuals. And then last, the way that we think a lasting impact, a lasting change, which is what this is all about, is that we provide educational opportunities, classes, seminars, rent well classes, but then we wrap that with mentoring services. So somebody there to hold your hand when you need a little bit of assistance, somebody to hold you accountable, somebody to cheer you on. We think that has a big impact. So why do we need the Beaverton Resource Center in addition to all the things I just talked about? One is, if you're dealing with economic instability, particularly for the first time, it's very unlikely that you really know what resources are available and how to go about finding them. The Beaverton Resource Center provides that single location for you to come. So if you need help, one place to go. Second, there are lots of great organizations out there, and you're going to hear from some of them tonight, right? All doing some great work, no doubt about that. Unfortunately, what I have experienced is a lot of those efforts are very siloed. There's not a lot of communication and interaction going on there. The Beaverton Resource Center helps facilitate that by bringing those organizations together. So we think better, it's more efficient, better case management, better results for the individual and or the families. And then along those same lines, I've talked with a lot of churches over the years, and they want to help. They just don't know how to go about it, whether it's an individual, a church, an organization. The Beaverton Resource Center gives them a place to either provide volunteers or to donate their time or talent or treasures. So it's a single place. And then finally, I've also had lots of conversations with organizations over the years where somebody comes to them looking for help, and they themselves, like in scenario number one, they don't know where to send them. They don't know how to help. What sort of referrals do they make, et cetera. Beaverton Resource Center will make that easy for them. It'll give them a single place that they can send somebody to, okay? So finally, again, if I'm you, why would I give you these funds, okay? If you believe in the cause that I just outlined, what I can tell you is 100% of these funds will be utilized for things like rent and utility assistance, gas cards, cell phone bills, so critical, motel nights for individuals who are homeless living on the street. That's where these funds will go. None of it will be used for operational costs, okay? And with that, I'm ready for Q&A.
All right, we'll open it up.
Okay. Hi, Al. My name is Wei
Hello.
Wei. I have a question about how you select the clients to serve. Obviously, the needs are just tremendous out there. Do you serve everybody who walks into your door?
So the answer is it depends. First off, we will absolutely assist whoever comes to the door. The amount or level of assistance will depend upon a variety of things. First and foremost is, frankly, where is it that you live? So those who are in the Beaverton area, they're sort of at the center of the bullseye, they will receive our broadest set of offerings, our deepest set, if you will. As you move further and further geographically away from Beaverton, we'll provide assistance, but it will taper from certainly not the financial assistance we're talking about here. It'll be more referral services. So by the time you get to the outer edges of Washington County, it'll be pretty much just referral services. If you're outside of Washington County, we won't be able to help you.
Lisa, you want to go? Lisa Stiller?
I think someone was ahead of me. Jeremy, were you ahead of me? No, okay. Okay. So my quick question is, how are you going to evaluate the impact of your services? How are you going to evaluate how you've helped people, especially the part, whether, the education part where you're going towards self-sufficiency? So what is your evaluation and your plans for longitudinal studies?
Yeah, really good question. And so we've kind of had an opportunity over the years to do this on a much smaller, individualized scale. And what I can tell you is, as a result of that, that's why we're bringing together this wraparound set of services. And what we look for is the ability to bring someone from, they don't necessarily have to be homeless, but on the verge of homelessness, somebody who's really in an unstable position, and work with them, and it will take months, but work with them to get them to a stable position. So how well do they understand what it is that we're showing to them? How well do they adapt? How well do they make changes to their life? Oftentimes, again, it's not unusual for the needs to be broad and many, but at the end of the day, it's also not uncommon for folks to not truly understand the impact of choices being made. And if we can help them along the way through either educational classes and or the mentoring component, which is a very big piece of this, we will see dramatic results. We've done this in the past. It's worked. We've taken people who literally were living in their cars and helped them gain stable housing, stable employment, and ultimately they were well on their feet. There are several of them today that have very good jobs and doing very well. So you measure it simply by the success of the individuals, but you also have to recognize that it is one family at a time, and they didn't end up homeless overnight. They will not become stable overnight. It's a long journey.
No, sorry, Jerome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate your presentation and what you do. The question I have for you is from your application. You say you have multiple on-site partners. Can you elaborate on what that means and who they are and how they kind of create maybe a little bit more of a wraparound?
Yeah. What does that mean, right?
Yeah.
So a key, sort of the central hub of all this, quite honestly, is the Beaverton School District itself. We are wrapping up the MOU between us and them as we speak. But their help center, it is intended for their help center to sort of be the hub of that. So those are the families that typically would come to them, will be coming now to the Beaverton Resource Center. We have organizations like Kindred Partners and Safe Families who are members. We have Catholic Charities. And then we have a multitude of churches like Village, Parkside, Colossae now, I believe their new name is Emmaus. Those are organizations, in addition to, of course, Beaverton Foursquare, where we are housed on their campus, and then the church that I'm from, Holy Trinity, a huge both financial and volunteer supporter. So those are the organizations that are coming together to help address this, and collectively we'll be able to make a difference. We are just getting started. You have to understand, we are frankly literally going to open our doors next Tuesday. So we're kind of excited, both excited and nervous about that. And we have a multitude of other organizations that we've been talking with who want to be part of this. COVID is frankly holding a lot of organizations back, rightfully so. And the services that we will provide will be somewhat virtual initially. Once COVID is under control, I'm hoping, by the time school opens in the fall, that we'll be able to physically open the doors. Between now and then, we will address the needs via phone, text, email, Zoom. And if people need something physical from us, they will come to our building, but we will address that physical exchange, if you will, outside the building.
Lisa M.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Al. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am wondering if you can help me understand a little more about the people that, here's my toddler. That was bound to happen as soon as I start talking. Thanks. The people that mentor, so the people involved in the mentoring, as far as, what training they have or life experience they have that makes them the right fit for that?
Yeah, really great question. So we did some work some number of years ago with an organization called New City Initiative. And if you're familiar with that, that was their approach. And fortunately, they provided us with a ton of training material. And so what you do is you look for individuals who have both the patience and the heart, but also some skill sets. In most cases, those skill sets have to do with the financial aspects of it. And so we do have, from Catholic Charities, for example, they have a lot of well-established financial classes. And we will run our mentors through that program, help them get familiar with the types of verbiage, if you will, and skills and exercises that you need to go through. And then, frankly, it's individuals who they simply want to help somebody be better. In most cases, it's retired individuals, but we do have some who are business backgrounds, those who have social service backgrounds, those who have financial backgrounds. Those are the individuals who tend to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm in a position now, I want to be able to help and I want to make a difference. And what we look for is somebody who can provide that initially once a week or so for an hour and a half. So it's just sort of that weekly check-in. How are you doing? Here's the homework that you had for last week. What's that budget looking like? Are you sticking to it? Tell me what it is you bought this week. There are also times what you want to do is to have these individuals celebrate your little toddler's birthday. Okay, let's go get a cake and we're going to celebrate, right? And so what you want to do is find individuals who want to have that human connection, that compassion, but then also bring some skill sets along, some life skills, for lack of better terms. Okay, so I told you, Megan, I could talk for hours about this.
That was for the committee as a whole. So I think we have time for one last question, if anyone has it. Or we can let Al, Melissa, there you go. Go for it.
Hey,
Hi, Melissa.
That one of your goals was to recruit a culturally diverse base.
I can't hear you, Melissa, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
No, Melissa, your microphone's very soft.
Oh, man. I have a new computer. Can you hear me now?
A little bit, go ahead.
Okay, I'm wondering about the diversity. It's one of your stated goals is to recruit culturally diverse volunteers. And if you're able to match mentors appropriately cross-culturally?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and probably also one of the toughest things that we face at this point in time. Again, I mentioned a handful of churches that we're working with. We've probably got about a dozen or so volunteers who are on board, not as culturally diverse as I would like it to be at this point, but very clearly an area that we are focused on. We sort of use the statistics within the Beaverton School District as our guide. We think that's probably fairly representative of the community at large. And so we are looking for, volunteers that sort of align with that. Again, I will tell you, I believe that COVID is our biggest obstacle right now in recruiting volunteers who are willing to come inside of a building with other strangers and spend, 3 or 4 hours every week. That's our biggest challenge, I think. So admittedly, we've got some work to do there.
All right, and with that is our last question. So thank you. Thanks, Al, for joining us and sharing more about the work that you all are doing, and hope the launch is successful. If there's any other questions or anything that you have, feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, we will get back to you with the decision after June 1st.
Sounds good. And for all of you, again, thank you for what you do. It's a very difficult job. Reach out to me. I'd love for each and every one of you to come to the Resource Center.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al.
Wonderful.
Al, I still remember Pat, who started the whole thing at Holy Trinity.
There you go. Take care, guys.
All right, first one down. You all have this. You all have it down pat. I think that went great. So I can see our next guest rise in the waiting room. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them in, and we will just keep rolling. Hello, hello. Hi, Jody. You're on mute right now.
Am I not on mute anymore?
That works, yes. Awesome. I have a couple other folks in the waiting room. Are Jenny and Axel with you too?
Axel is with me.
Okay. We've got some groups in there. Okay. Is this your crew? Is there anyone you're waiting on?
This is our crew. There's 3 of us.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I will just do a short little intro, and then I'll turn it over to you to introduce yourselves and then get started. So we're really excited to have you. This is the Social Service Funding Committee. So we've got lots of faces in the room, a couple that are first time, just like you all are, to this grant process, and a couple that have been with the committee for a few years. So really great mix. We are interviewing 6 organizations tonight. We're interviewing 12 overall, and we had 32 applicants apply. So those 32 applicants, we had a total ask of around $503,000. We have around $310,000 to give out. So it will be a really tough decision per usual to figure out. And we just really appreciate you all coming out and sharing a little bit more information about what you do and giving us some time to ask questions. So the way it will work is you will have the first 5 minutes. I have some cards. So this is like you have 1 minute to go, and that's wrap it up. You'll have that first 5 minutes to share whatever you would like. And then after that, there will be 10 minutes of Q&A with the committee. So that is kind of our plan. It is fast and quick, but we're just glad to have you here this evening. So with that, I will turn it over to you, and we'll go from there. And you're all still on mute, so you'll probably have to unmute for us to hear you. I should have mentioned, actually, sorry, before you start, I should have mentioned as well that after we finish interviews, the committee will be deliberating, and then the recommendation will go to City Council on June 1st. So that is the next time that you will hear from us. That's when the decision will be made, and I will share that out. So just in case we run out of time, I wanted to make sure I shared that with you. And go ahead, Axel.
We appreciate that so much. Thank you. Just let us know when we're supposed to talk.
The floor is all yours.
Oh, okay. So anyways, we're super nervous. This is something that we have been like planning and putting together for so many months, that we want to help our community. It doesn't matter whether you're Hispanic, Black, we just want to help communities in Beaverton specifically to succeed in life. I know as myself, I have been here for about 20 years. And when I first got here, and nobody told me what it was like to be in the US, what you needed to be, what you needed to do, how you needed to, help your community. So it's been hard, and it's been a fun activity to learn it, to, I don't know how to say it, how to explain it. It's so deep inside of my heart to teach our community to be the best they can be, to do the best they can do, to better themselves in our communities, whether it's in Beaverton, in the whole state of Oregon. We just want to help them to grow as people in general. I'm a RISE member. I've been here for about 20 years. I'm originally from Mexico. When I first came here, I went to the DMV not knowing how to get a license or a permit. So I did it all in English, which was super hard. Somebody from Mexico comes to the US, takes a test in English. It's like, I didn't know what I could do it in Spanish. Otherwise, I would have done it. But, that one little tiny step, it could have helped somebody to just like show me, like, dude, you can do this in Spanish. And I would have done it in Spanish, and probably I would have done great. But I did it in English, and I still did great. But, that's because I wanted to make a life for myself in the US. I wanted to have kids in the US that grew up and went to school and have a career and did whatever they want to do. And part of our, how could I say it, our passion is like to have kids from all over the world to do it, to have the American dream, the one that everybody dreams about. We just want them to do it the right way with all the support that they have. And we want to be their support. And sometimes it's hard because, mom, dads, they get jobs. And it's so hard for them to guide us as kids, teenagers. So we just want to be there for them. So I'm going to just let Jody talk and do her part, but we really want to help our community, and we're so nervous because we've never done this before. So thank you for the chance for me to talk. So I'll let somebody else talk.
Hello, how's everybody? Pretty well. Okay, so I'm gonna start saying that my name is Javi Rodriguez. I lived 6 years in Mexico and immigrated here to the US, and I didn't really speak Spanish really well. I wish I would have had the support like Rise would help me a lot. But I used to live in Washington, and I didn't know how to read or write. And I struggled for about 2 to 3 years. And then I met Rise. They started helping me, they helped me get my license because my mom unfortunately couldn't pay rent. So I had to start working. And she will help me because I needed a car to go to work because I worked in construction. So I didn't know how to get my license, and they guide me to get my license. And since I met Rise, they kind of helped me a lot. Like, I would really appreciate if you guys would support this program. But not just that, they also helped me like get my passport, like a lot of document stuff, can navigate me through the system.
You're done.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening. That's all I have to say. Have a good day.
Thank you, Javier and Axel, for sharing. I'm going to turn it over to committee questions, and then we'll go from there. So, Melissa, is your hand up? Okay, from the past. Who wants to kick off questions? Go ahead, Jerome.
Yeah, my hand is matching the side of
same
my
side.
wall. So your objective clients are undocumented residents. How do you reach out? How do you find them, or how do they find you? Do you have an outreach program, and what does that look like?
My name is Jody. I'm the co-founder of Rise. Axel is our board member, and Javier is a youth that participates in our programming. We do a lot of our work through word of mouth. The community in Beaverton is not that great, so that word can't get around. We also have social media, Facebook and Instagram, which we're growing. But currently, and there's no lack of need in the community. And when, aunts and uncles and cousins and families talk to each other and say, oh, this organization helped me to, pay my rent, helped me to pay my bills, helped me to get an appointment at the DMV, helped me through this process. The word gets around really quickly, and people come to learn that this is an organization that can help you.
Lisa S.
So a quick question. I think one just got answered. The other one was, how are you going to measure the impact of what you do? How are you going to tell, any way to measure your impact on services or people? And then do studies about, well, how much do lives change for the better through what you offer them? And also, I want to associate that with also what community partners are you working with? Thanks.
I think I'll probably start to answer that question, and then I will let probably Javier finish it up. But the answer to your question is probably a combination of like qualitative and quantitative data. I know that people really love to see data. And so collecting information on how many people we have helped, in what ways, the reach of our programs, the reach of our network, the growth of our network is important. And also just hearing stories from people and how they've been impacted is also important. As far as partnerships go, we are super aware of a lot of the organizations, none of which are rooted in Beaverton, that serve the most disadvantaged, underserved communities. There's a lot of support out there when it comes to immigration, when it comes to the school system. We are connected with all those networks tangentially and try to refer out when possible. And a lot of times those referrals take work to get rooted as well. It's one thing to hand somebody a phone number, and it's another thing to say, let's call this organization. And then you call the organization and they say, okay, we need these and these paperworks. Okay, let's get these paperworks. That's sort of where Rise fills the gap in like figuring out how to navigate systems. Your question is your question was, I think, about how we tell the story of the impact of Rise. And I don't want to be the only one talking here, so I'm going to let somebody else. I don't know if Axel or Javier wants to chime in about the story.
I would love to talk about that. So, even though our age is more about talking really young generations are like really into social media, and that's great. That helps us so much to like spread the word of us talking to people. But once you help somebody, that somebody tells somebody else, and that somebody else is somebody else, and we're so happy to have like people in our group that are like related somehow or just friends, and it helps us so much to make us bigger, to make us the dream that we want to have, which is helping people from other countries, regardless of their race, in our community. Here in Beaverton, we have so many people from all over the world, and we just want to help them to be a better citizen, to know the ways that the United States of America work, because that's what it's all about. It's about having a community that knows how to help each other, how to have that brotherhood within races, regardless of what race you're from, what country you're from. It's just about us helping us as people, as human beings, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We have people from all over the world in our little group, and that's what we want. We want people from all over the world. Help them one way or another, whether it's translating, whether it's filling up paperwork to get a license, a little tiny simple thing like a driver's license. And then from there, go on and on, as in training them to be better people, like not only socially, but also train them to give them skills, the skills that they need in life, whether it's construction, whether it's a little office work, whatever it is that they want to pursue in their lives. We want to help them, give them the tools that they need so they can grow as a person and as a community member. That's my feeling.
Wei Wei?
Yes. First of all, you're doing something wonderful. As a first generation immigrant, I also went through exactly what you described, right? Going to the DMV was a horrible, horrible experience for me. My question to you is that the needs are tremendous out there. How do you collaborate with partners in Beaverton or in the surrounding areas for you to actually serve the people that you want to serve or who need to be served? So I'm a little worried that your capacity or whatever you have so far will burn you out quickly. So how do you collaborate with others?
So we know that, we don't speak everybody's language. We know, it's so hard for anyone to speak, whether it's Italian, Chinese, Vietnamese, any language, Spanish. It's so hard to know all those languages. So the best that we can do is like grow our little group and have people from all over the world so they can help us help each other. That's what we want. We want to have, whether you're from Africa, whether you're from Latin America, or any English speaking country, Russian, it doesn't matter. We want to have everyone, at least one person from every, race, country, language, whatever we can, so we can help each other. That's what we want. Whether it's Tagalog from, the Philippines, Mexican Spanish, Spaniard Spanish, it doesn't matter. We just want to be there for whoever and find the people that can relate to what our cause is and go from there. Like Jody, she's like a white German American who speaks Spanish fluent, better than some people that I know that are from Mexico. And she will help so much within the Latin community. I am myself a Mexican. I came here speaking a little bit of English, but not enough to get along with everybody, get around, get my paperwork, anything that I wanted to get. But eventually I did. It might have taken me a few years, but I got it, and it was really, really hard. But I don't want it to be so hard for other people. Like a lot of people who are from Africa, they speak different languages. Germany, South America, it doesn't matter, Japan, it doesn't matter where you're from. Coming to America is not easy. It's not as easy as they paint it, because we have to understand each other. Otherwise, you'll never get around. You'll never get the help that you need because you don't know how to communicate it. And we want to be there for those kind of people, so they get that help. They get what they need so they can succeed as a community member, like say Oregon, say Beaverton, say Portland.
Axel, I'm gonna jump in because we have another interview and
Okay,
we're running
sorry
a little
about
bit over time.
Okay.
But I really want to thank you three for being here and sharing a little bit about RISE. And like I said, oh shoot, did I lose connection? Okay, I'm back.
No, you're good.
We will have the next time you'll hear from us will be on June 1st about the decision. And I know hopefully next year we're able to do some interviews in person again and out of the virtual environment. So it's different to meet folks over video, but thank you for joining us, and we will talk soon. Thanks, Javier.
Thank you
Thanks,
for your
Jody.
time.
No problem. Have a good day.
Okay, I am going to bring in work systems. I forget about this every year, that I need to build in a little bit of a break in between in between 3 and then 3. So I can also hold people. We'll get through work systems and then we can just hold for a break, and I'll message folks that we're a little bit behind. So no worries. Gonna bring them in. Hi, Stacy. Are Jenny
Hello,
and
Megan.
Chris?
How are you?
Good. Are Jenny and Christine with you?
Victoria is. So why don't we let Victoria in first?
Okay. Haven't seen her in yet.
Oh, okay. She's been waiting, so she is out there somewhere.
Okay. She might have a different name on her.
Oh, okay.
That might be.
Yeah. Well, let's just take a whirl. You can always send them back.
I'll bring them in and then we can figure it out.
Exactly. Hey, everybody. Hi, committee.
That's always the challenge. I know you can't change your room while you're in there. So.
Oh, she's Jenny. Yeah, she's Jenny.
Okay. Christine, you, which organization are you with?
I'm not sure that I'm with an organization. I was working with Marcos.
Yes, she's here for us. So she's part of the work systems crew. We are
Awesome.
wearing coordinated outfits and we have our dance moves together. So I'm sorry you guys won't get to see all that.
It's hard to get those dances when we're not in person. So
exactly.
Well, thanks for joining us all. There we go. What I will do is I will just give a short intro and then turn it over to you all. So I'm Megan, I'm the staff liaison for the committee, and these other fine folks are committee members, social service funding committee folks. We have a couple folks who are doing this for the first time this year, just like you all. And then a couple folks that have been doing this for 4 more years. So pretty exciting mix. The way that this will, well, let me say a few things. One, we are interviewing 6 organizations tonight. We're interviewing 12 total, but we have 32 applicants for this grant. We had a total ask of around $503,000, and we have about $310,000 to give out. So it's going to be a really tough choice for these folks. So we appreciate you coming out, especially as a first-time applicant, to just share a little bit more about what you do and answer some questions. So you will have 5 minutes to introduce yourselves and share whatever you would like. I have some nifty color-coded pieces here. So this is kind of your 1-minute warning and then your stop. And then after that, we'll go into 10 minutes of Q&A with the committee. And then they are going, after interviews, they are going to deliberate and then take a decision to City Council on June 1st. So that is the next time that you will hear from us, will be once that has been forwarded to City Council. So that is kind of the next step. And yeah, with that, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, well, thanks so much. So I'm going to be very brief because I'd like to give Christine Payne time to talk. She's really the focus of this service. So you are hearing from the work systems team on career coaching services. So the name of the program is the Economic Opportunities Program. And we're really excited to partner with Beaverton on this. And we're just really happy that you've wanted to hear more about our application. So I'm not going to get into the services yet. Christine, could you just tell us very briefly what your experience was when you worked with Marcos, who's the career coach at PCC, who is the kind of resource person for this project and for this grant. And then Victoria will come in after that.
Okay. Actually, it was my first time ever getting involved and kind of going in blindfolded, not really know what I was getting into and what services would be offered. You know, when you have a pandemic and you're trying to survive. I'm a single parent, and then you get hit with the pandemic and it's just a matter of survival. Everybody's trying to survive. And then trying, I've had a lot of roller coaster like things that have happened in my past that hinder me from being able to move forwards and getting sometimes better careers, better jobs, you know, not knowing if I'm doing certain things the right way, wording certain things the right way. And Marcos actually has been phenomenal, hands down. I've actually referred some friends to the program because I felt that it would be very helpful as well. As far as being able to help me to get, you know, on a laptop where I'm able to actually, you know, put in my resume and throw things out, to the financial aspect of, you know, we all find ourselves at times with a bump in the road, and to have it pick me up to kind of keep you motivated has been tremendous, because it's not only helped me, but it's helped my children, it's helped my vehicles. And, you know, right now I'm in the middle of a crisis. It's myself with 3 vehicles, 2 of which, one engine seized and the other one has a radiator issue. So, you know, I'm dealing with struggles daily, but this program has given me the benefit to look at things in a brighter way, because it's a matter of knowing people and knowing the direction and moving forwards to be able to better yourself. So I appreciate your organization, and I appreciate the help that Marcos has been able to give me and some form of direction as to, you know, how to better myself.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Christine. We really appreciate hearing that customer voice directly and centering the participants as part of what we do. So just to highlight some of the things that you said, you know, one of the important experiences of career coaching customers is that they have a one-on-one relationship with their career coach who meets them where they are and continues to work with them through whatever career planning and goals they create together. The bumps in the road piece is our support service policy, where we have different access to different kinds of support services for customers. Everything from emergency kinds of assistance to rent assistance, depending on the situation. We do have leveraged funds that are available into the EOP for customers to get a kind of get different kinds of supports. So I don't want to keep talking. I want to give Victoria a moment to talk about our experience thus far in the Washington County EOP that is operational right now.
Thank you. My name is Victoria. I am a work systems senior project manager, and one of the programs in my profile is Washington County EOP program. And we started in July of 2020. And at this point, we successfully brought in 20 Washington County residents to the program with the background and situation and history that Christine just mentioned. And it's the hardest year for everybody for a variety of reasons. It's a trauma for everybody and so many crises. And during this last 8 months, these 20 people received a very thorough assessment of their needs when they come in, their interest, their future plan, how to look at things on the bright side, developing, building step-by-step pathway to career track employment that would bring them to stability and help out their family. Then I have 1 more minute.
Yes, you have 1 more minute. Yes, keep going, keep going. Get it.
So it's long-term, trustworthy relationship with the customers, with a lot of resources that we have in a program and in the leverage resources, and the network, the huge network that we have in Washington County of other community-based organizations, workforce centers, Portland Community College, DHS. So it's a big network of services and providers.
Okay, I'm just going to do the final ask here. I want to be very clear that it's really important for us to receive these funds because it creates the ability to serve City of Beaverton residents within every industry that they might be interested in. At the current time, the program has unfortunately, not based on anything that we want to do, had to exclude customers who are City of Portland, City of Beaverton residents who are not pursuing construction careers. And so this is a really poor situation that we find ourselves in. And I think it would really benefit the community greatly if we are able to receive a Beaverton kind of infill funding piece to make that recruitment smoother and to make sure that we're not having to turn people away. You know, the commitment, oh, sorry, is that, I don't see the red yet. Oh, wait, oh, there you are. Okay, sorry. I saw a hand and then I saw a red. Oh no, well, thanks. We don't want to go over our time. All right.
Thank you, Stacy, Christine, and Victoria for sharing a little bit. So I'll turn it over to questions, starting with Lisa M.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Stacy. Sorry, I didn't mean for my hand raise to distract. I wanted to make sure I got in on the first question because I actually did have a question specifically about what you were just addressing.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, you know, some of us here have nonprofit backgrounds, some of us don't, right? I don't. So I don't understand why things are the way they are for you guys right now, as far as why you can't serve, like, what is it about the funding, or why is there no funding, no CDBG funding available that would allow you to do that? I'm just trying to understand the reasoning.
Right. So within Washington County, the awards that you receive from the federal government are divided amongst jurisdictions once you get to a certain size. So Beaverton is in charge of its own CDBG investments. And so that means that the Washington County award that we currently have that allowed us to create the Economic Opportunity Program does not allow us to serve Beaverton residents, because that would kind of be like, I don't know, just because federal rule. I'll just leave it at that. Federal rule, not our rule.
But I want to tell you that we do manage to serve them, unfortunately, with the different fundings that added to this program. It's a construction funding. So we have the residents of Beaverton, but only if they're interested in construction. And what I hear from the provider, PCC, that 50% of people they reach out who are interested in a program, they have to turn away because they're not interested in construction, but they are the residents of Beaverton. This is the limitation that really unfair.
Right, it's just unfortunate. I'm just gonna add one little thing, and I see your hand there, Mike. The construction industry is a very important industry for us, but it's equal in focus to the IT and software area, the healthcare area, and the advanced manufacturing area. And so that's where we're really feeling the gap. But we do want the services to be available for folks, whatever careers they're pursuing.
I'm gonna turn it over to Jerome really fast. His hand's hidden. And then Mike, you're up next.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your presentation, and thank you for what you do. In your application, you referred to aligned partners. Can you elaborate on exactly who that is and your relationship and what they do?
Sure. Victoria spends all of her time with them. So I'm going to let you go ahead and go. I won't take up all your time.
Well, first of all, thank you for this question, because the Aligned Partner Network is an amazing network of 30 and growing number of community-based public agency organization in both Multnomah and Washington County. And what the partnership is, in just basically one sentence, is here is the public workforce development system that we represent. And here is all this organization, including some in Beaverton, such as Community Action Organization, Home Youth Plate Services, and others that have customers or participants who are ready or getting ready to function as job seekers. And to connect our resources and our services and training scholarship and one-on-one coaching with these organizations that specialize in others, services such as housing and parenting education. We created that partnership where we coordinate resources, leverage each other's resources, leverage each other's expertise. They have strong case management services. We have all the resources that I just mentioned. So their staff, in our world, we call them career coaches, getting all the information, training, knowledge, access to services, resources from the public workforce development system, which we represent as work system. The people who are assigned to support this partners are workforce center liaisons. They are employees of the center, and they are that iron and conduit and wire that puts it all together. The customer of Home Use Plate is interested in getting into whatever career. We have the scholarships, we have applications, we have career exploration activities. The liaison will assist the coach in helping customer getting in and being successful and provide additional services. So it's basically long-term ongoing relationship with our partners, community partners. And as I said, it continues to grow. Beaverton Domestic Violence Resource Center is one of our providers. We were recently able, through our resources, to obtain the laptop for our AAPN partners and just delivered them. So it's actually the most exciting part of my work portfolio, because I can see the true community partnership on a regular basis. We have the work experience programs, and the communication goes like this. The mail comes, it goes into practically, we have in Aligned Partner Network between two counties around 100 coaches. It reaches them with a click of a button, and vice versa when they need help. The liaisons are assigned and they're there. Okay, I need to stop talking. And
Thank you for that answer. I'm sorry I'm gonna have to drop off myself here, but thank you for that answer.
Thanks, Jerome.
Sorry. Okay. Thanks, Jerome, who's now gone. Mike, go ahead, and then Melissa.
Okay. Thank you, all of you, for your presentation here. I'm impressed with the stuff. I'm curious in terms of part of the use of the funds. In the question, it's noted that, call it 80% of the funds will be used for the career coach as a 0.1 FTE, which is, I mean, it's telling me that's a career coach with a significant salary. And I'm just curious if you can comment on that, or are there other ways of using that money?
Well, there are other expenses related to the program. So if you feel kind of, sensitive toward how the contract is structured, this is a experienced community college staff person. So they're not, they are fairly well paid. So I just want to be, honest about that. The types of expenses in the program are not just personnel, but also kind of operating expenses and participant expense, things that would be given directly to the customers on an as-needed basis, and indirect expense. And so we can structure the investment that Beaverton is making into that contract in any different proportions that would meet your interest in, making sure that the most of the money goes here or there. But the most important thing for us is filling that jurisdictional gap and making sure that we're serving folks across the Beaverton resident and Washington County non-Beaverton residents, in a more equitable fashion. And so I'll say the cost burden to Beaverton is not proportional. Washington County is paying more for this, for this career coach, but that is the rate of expense that we're running right now.
Okay, thank you.
Melissa, you have the final question, I think.
I was wondering if you were able to tell us how many Beaverton residents are being turned away because they're not interested in construction.
Oh, good question, Victoria.
I don't have the number, but in the latest quarterly report from the provider, they wrote that 50% of people that are inquiring and they're doing outreach is those who are residents of Beaverton. If you want, I can follow up and get you this number for, I would say, probably 2 quarters, because the same note in a quarterly report was from the previous quarter. I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah, they currently have 20 customers enrolled, right? And so you can imagine, some portion of that were enrolled in those 2 quarters that we're talking about. And, the number of people interested versus those who it's timely to follow up with is, not a one-on-one match. So, we're talking significant amounts of outreach and then and just navigation that's happening. It's not like the customers are sent, goodbye, door closed, but they're sent into another system where they don't have the same access to one-on-one individualized career coaching services.
In the last 2 seconds, I want to mention I'm a resident of Beaverton, and I personally have this information. I have community members and friends who are asking me about this program. And the first question I ask, are you interested in construction? And no, it feels off.
Awesome. Well, I think that with that, we're about at time. So thank you again, Stacy, Victoria, and Christine, for coming and just sharing about your experience and your knowledge of the program. We really appreciate it. You won't be hearing much from me. Feel free to reach back out if needed. And then I will be in touch after that June 1st date. So
All right. Very
next
good.
year
Well,
we're in person.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for your time and thanks for your service to the city of Beaverton. Christine, thank you so much for taking your time to come in and talk about your experience.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you all.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
People are so fast. Okay. Let me bring, first of all, Renu's waiting. So let me bring him in.
You can let him in. I was going to be like, is it just us now? Are we good? But yeah, you can let Renu in.
Hey, Renu.
Mike, I was going to tell you, I had that exact same question about the 0.1 FTE. I did it on the calculator. I was like, is this right? So I don't know. I mean, not that I don't think that that's a high skill position, but it was surprising. So I'm really glad you asked it. Because I was curious.
Thanks.
Are we
Awkward
taking
question.
a break, Megan?
Yeah.
Yes, so let's do this. You're welcome to stay if you would like, but otherwise feel free to turn off your cameras and step away. Let's just go ahead and take a 5-minute break right now, and then we can break again in a little bit. So 7:10, come on back.
That's perfect. The Grubhub driver got lost and he just found me.
Perfect. Okay, so our next interview is Wake Up Beaverton, right? I'm gonna go ahead and bring them in. Renu, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I'm glad you get the
a few
second
minutes.
half. Yeah, so we're running a little bit late, but next one up is Wake Up Beaverton. So perfect time because I know you had questions for them.
Yeah.
All right. Oops. Hi, Cynthia. I think I brought you in too early. So I'm gonna stick you, Cynthia, are you doing Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Yes, I am. I just joined for the 7:20 appointment.
Okay, we're running a few minutes late, so I'm gonna stick you back in the waiting room, and then I will grab you probably like 10 minutes after your time. So
okay, great.
Back around.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Jefferson. Thanks for joining us.
How's it going? How's it going, everyone?
Nice to see you. And thanks for waiting, running a little bit behind. I'm just going to give a short intro and then I'll turn it over to you. So I know you're familiar with me, but I'm Megan. I'm the staff liaison for this group, and all of these other folks are the committee members of the Social Service Funding Committee. So a couple new faces. I know you've been here in other capacities before, but some returning members and some new. And then so tonight is actually our first night of interviews. We are interviewing 12 folks total. And then after that, we will be deliberating. This group will be deliberating and forwarding a recommendation to City Council. We had 32 applications total, about $503,000 in ask, and we have about 310 to give out. So definitely going to be a tough decision. And so we really appreciate you coming here just to share a little bit more information and answer some questions. The recommendation will be taken to City Council on June 1st. So that's the next time that you'll hear from me regarding the results of what's happening for this coming grant year. And for tonight, it will kind of work how it has in the past. You'll have 5 minutes to present. I have like a 1-minute warning and a stop. And then after that, we'll just open it up for question answer. So that's my very quick introduction, and I will just turn it over to you to kick it off.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jefferson Chow. I'm the pastor of Beaverton First United Methodist Church, and I am also the founder of Wake Up Beaverton that started from Beaverton first. We started Wake Up Beaverton as a public school supply giveaway drive. So we're the first ones to actually just give out school supplies, and they come to the church. We gave out 400 pre-COVID. When we had, before COVID, everyone came to the church. We gave 400 school supplies. Last year, we gave another 400. And this year, we wanted to expand out of the church. So we decided that we would become a nonprofit of our own. And currently, because we don't have a real finance yet, that we are using the church as a physical sponsor to run our finances until we move forward with everything. We are already in the process of the 501c, and we have done many partnerships with the city of Beaverton, and they have sponsored some of Wake Up Beaverton's supplies for school supplies. This year, we would want to move forward and help in not just in school supplies, but also in food. Due to COVID, there has been a lot of issues with hardship on finances on internet and food for children. And we've been working closely with the Beaverton School District, and they've been explaining the issues that have been happening because of COVID. A lot of children, some immigrants and refugees don't have internet at all. So they've been using these hotspots that the school's been giving them. And I've been working with Comcast, and we created a way to do this. The best way that we could was join the essential internet program for Comcast. That would pay $10.50 per person a month with the modem and installation. Yes, the school supplies internet, but that's only for a short time being. So we would like to continuously sponsor the people that need internet. And currently we have about 5 people that are enrolled, because the issue is that because school was closed, we couldn't engage with the people and say, hey, we are willing to help you guys. So this morning we had a meeting with the school, and they're saying we're talking about bringing nonprofits in and the community partners of Beaverton and start rebuilding that connection with the children and families, and let them know that we have these resources that we're able to help them with. One issue that a lot of teachers were telling us was computers. They don't have any computers, and yes, the school is giving computers, but they have to give them back. But because the students are not catching up with the process of learning right now, they're going to have to enter into summer school. And so we believe that it would be a great idea if we help them have computers, have internet, and have food, so they can continue to do their education and help the families who are struggling, especially the ones who lost their jobs and the ones who are just language barriers that they're struggling with. And we are connected with a lot of Beaverton school counselors. We are also connected with other nonprofits, and such as Unite Oregon. We also connected with ERCO. They are willing to interpret any language that we need to speak to the people that need to understand what's going on and how to do that. We are also talking to Comcast in building multiple languages in how to use the internet correctly, how to use the modems, how to use Wi-Fi, because that's a challenge too. So we already made our first training video. It's all in English, and now we're working on Spanish, and then we're going to continue working on the next phases of the languages. Other than that, that's really what we're trying to do right now, is really help the community that is in need. And the target area that we've been focusing on for the last 2 to 3 years is immigrants and refugees that really need help during these times. And that's my 4.5 minute presentation.
Jefferson. Appreciate it. I will turn it over to committee questions. Oh, Melissa, there you go.
I just had a question about duplication of services. I'm just wondering if the school district is saying that they're going to have students return their Chromebooks or iPads over the school break, if that was brought up. I know last summer they were able to retain them over the break. Whether or not the school district is going, if there's going to be a duplication with food provision as well, or if this is something.
I missed the last part. My email decided to speak over you.
Oh, you're
Melissa, we're not hearing you at all right now.
yeah.
Can you put it in the chat?
Yeah, before you were soft, but now you're appear to be muted. Inadvertently muted. Oh, now, yep, there's
Okay.
a tiny bit again.
Sorry, it's just a question about, is this a supplement or duplication of the services the school district is providing with the Chromebooks and iPads that they're giving to students and the food distribution that they're doing?
Okay. The food distribution that they're doing is with Bethel Church. We work with Oregon Food Bank, and we've been partnering with them for the last 3 years, giving fresh produce. We focus on the actual culture of people. So not giving them cans of beans or spaghetti, but actually the needs of what immigrants and refugees actually eat, you know. So like for instance, in the Asian community, we would need bok choy and tofu and items like that. So we try to focus actually what culturally, the cultural foods, not just the American society, you know, peanut butter and bread and stuff like that. Computer wise, I haven't heard anything about giving back the computers yet. So I think that's still under discussion, but the issue is right now that only 70% might be finishing their whatever grade that they're in right now. The 30% are not able to catch up in time. And I don't know what that issue is, but we're willing to provide the needs to help them to finish what they need to finish. Yeah. Yes.
Wei Wei.
Yes. Hi, Jefferson. Thank you for doing what you do for the students. I have a question about the timing of your application. For instance, you know, if we did decide to grant you the funds, you will start sometime in July, right? That's summertime. Schools are not really in session, right? And also by September, at least at this point, going back to school in person seems to be the plan. So I just question the needs there for the computers and internet to the children who might go back to school to learn.
Yeah, so school is year round. I guess that's what I was told. There are a lot of children who actually attend summer school, and the internet program would help them to continue, and especially that right now that there's the decline that they're not passing their classes, that they will all have to enroll in summer school. And in-person school, actually, we talked about this morning with the principal. The children have an option. So they don't have to return next fall to school. They can still do their schooling online if they choose to, or if the parents say, yes, we don't want our child to go back to school due to COVID. Yes.
So I have a quick question regarding the internet that's provided by the school district. So are you saying that's not, I mean, it's not permanent? Is it for a time-bound program that the school is doing?
Yes, correct. And so Comcast is giving them hotspots for the need for this moment, and then they have to reapply every year with Comcast to say this is how many hotspots or internet efficient programs. But they also have to ask people to donate money to pay for those essential internet programs. So it's not like the school is actually paying for those internet. It's actually like this year we gave $1,000 to Beaverton High School, and I know another church gave, I think they sponsored 10 children and gave another $1,000. So it's actually donations that are coming into the school to help fund those internet programs.
So the companies themselves are not giving it. I know Comcast is not giving it free of cost this year, but there are 3 other companies that are giving it free of cost. Isn't that right? No?
No, not that I've heard of, no.
Okay.
But if you do know, please let me know so I can help us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Other questions? Oh, Jerome, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned you're still in the process of getting a 501c3 status, or can you tell us a little bit more about?
Oh, yes. So we just have to initiate the board. The board is ready. I guess we just have to train. We have a nonprofit person, that liaison, that guides us through everything. So I have a treasurer, I have secretary, I have a community partner that's in there. I have one church member because they're a physical sponsor currently, and I have a vice president, and then there's me. So we just have to swear ourselves in, and then we will be all set, and we will be doing that soon. Yeah. Yeah, but paperwork and everything's all done. Yeah.
I think I saw another hand. Was that you, Lisa? Yeah, Lisa S.
Quick question. I think what you're doing is awesome. How do you measure the impact of what you're doing? How do you measure the success of what you are doing?
Okay. Yeah. So during when I first came here to Beaverton 3 years ago, I walked around Beaverton for 2 months, seeing what was going on. I met a lot of people and the nonprofits that were telling me what was going on with Beaverton. And they told me to please focus on the schools. It's smoke and mirrors. So I didn't understand what they were talking about. And then when I found out that they were talking about immigrants and refugees that really needed help. And so when I started Wake Up Beaverton, it was only 200 people showed up. The next year was 300. And then the year after was 400 people. So the need was really high, that they needed school supplies, they needed food. And during those times, we were doing free food market all throughout those years. And we started with 2,000 pounds, and now we're giving away 15,000 pounds of food every other week. We do it twice a month, but now Oregon Food Bank doesn't have enough food to supply us. And then when I reached out to the schools, the whole school district actually, and they were telling me the need for internet and the need for computers, and they didn't have enough to give every child. So that told me that there is a huge need in Beaverton right now that still needs, some kids probably are still needing internet, and some still need computers. And I was also in Watson when the pandemic first started, and they built the outdoor seating. Just me sitting there for 1 hour, I saw 10 children sitting outside near Lionheart Cafe using their internet to finish their schoolwork. So that was like a huge eye-opening for me, saying these kids are trying to find every way possible to finish their schoolwork, and they will sit anywhere they can to get the internet to finish what they need.
All right. Well, I think actually with that, good timing, Jefferson, that is probably the time that we have for questions. So I appreciate you coming and being here to answer a few questions. Hopefully we get to meet in person next time we do this. So like I said, you probably won't hear from me until June 1st, but feel free to reach out if there's anything else that you need. And yeah, I have a great evening. Thank you, Jefferson.
Thank you, guys. All right. Good night.
All right. Next up is Big Brothers, Big Sisters. So I'm going to let them in. There's Cynthia. Hey, Cynthia. Thanks for waiting.
Hello. Oh, no problem.
Do you have somebody else joining you, Cynthia?
Yes, I do. Carolina Adriansen. She said she was in the waiting room.
Great. I probably just need to scroll down. There she is.
There she is. Great.
Awesome. Well, it's very exciting to have you virtually. What I will do, hi Carolina.
Hi.
What I will do is just give a short intro because I know you all have not done this in a very long time.
Right.
So I'll give a short intro and then I will turn it over to you. So I'm Megan. I'm the staff liaison for the committee and kind of your contact at City of Beaverton. So kind of regardless of where this grant process goes, you're always welcome to reach out to me and just have conversations about how we can better connect and talk about those connections between nonprofit and the city. We have all of our lovely committee members here this evening. So a few of them, this is their first time around as well. And then a few we've had for several years. So it's a really great mix. And they're the ones who are going to be reviewing all of the application, doing these interviews, and then making a recommendation to City Council. So what we're doing is we have 6 interviews tonight. We're interviewing 12 folks, 12 organizations total, but we had 32 applicants for the grant. The total ask was around $503,000. And we have about $310,000 to give. So it will definitely be a difficult decision to make. Yeah, just so that you know, it's never easy. I wish it could be, but unfortunately it's not. That recommendation will be submitted to City Council on June 1st. So that is probably the next time that you'll hear from me. I will let you all know if you're recommended for grant funds or not that evening when it goes to City Council. So that is kind of the next step in the process. For tonight, I will give you all 5 minutes to share what you would like about the work that you're doing. I have a kind of 1 minute warning and and then after that, we'll do 10 minutes of question answer with the committee. So that is kind of the plan. It was all very quick, but I will turn it over to you two to introduce yourselves and kick it off.
Great. Okay, well, I'm going to get started to do the 5-minute presentation. Hopefully I will be brief. My name is Cynthia Thompson, the Chief Development Officer, and then Carolina Adriansen is our Program Director, and she will help me with the questions. So I will get started. First of all, I want to say that I feel like I know you all because I watched the recording in March where you deliberated on the process and how you were going to score people. So I know all these faces. I know who likes this and that. So that was kind of fun. Thank you for that opportunity. So I wrote the application and I wanted to let you know that we are just committed to serving Beaverton residents. We've been committed for many years. As you mentioned, it's been a while since we applied for a grant, but I do have it was from 2010 to 2015. Those were the years we received some funding from the social services or the CDBG program. So we've been a local affiliate for the Portland region for the past 20 years. But we are, definitely committed to Beaverton, and we have a history of results. So speaking of results, I just want to let you know, wanted to share that mentoring, one-to-one mentoring is so critically important right now. And that's our mission, especially now due to social isolation and COVID, the inequity and the gaps with distance learning and the racial justice and social justice conversations. Our mentors are some of the only people outside of the household that these young children are able to interact with. So it's been such a critical year this past year. And then just to tie it into the city of Beaverton priorities, mentoring, one-to-one mentoring has been shown to break the cycle of poverty and to decrease involvement in the juvenile justice system. So it's such an important project, or just an important initiative, mentoring in general. Just real quickly on this request, we are asking the city to support about 14% of the total cost of 1 year of our work in Beaverton. So on the budget, the total cost is about $140,000, and we're asking the city of Beaverton for $20,000. We can take less, less. I know you have a lot to give. Of course, we love to get the full request, but that does support our a portion of the work. So, and that would be for 56 youth. We're promising to serve 56 matches, but that equates to about 168 people. That would be the youth, the child, it would be the mentor, and that would be their parents, parent or guardian, and their siblings. There's really a ripple effect of the program on siblings. And then I'm just going to close with a couple things on demographics. Here's an interesting statistic. Across the region, our region that we serve, 75% of the children are BIPOC, from BIPOC communities, but in Beaverton, it's 84%. So it's even more diverse individuals that we're serving in Beaverton. And 55% are single parent households, and 15% have an incarcerated parent. So that's pretty high for our region. And they're all low income. Usually we do that by the free or reduced lunch qualification. So a final point, our offices are now much closer to Beaverton. We were in the Hollywood district for 20 years, and we just moved last year to Beaverton Hillsdale Highway. So we're right on the border. And now, while we only have one office now, we don't have regional offices. We used to have a satellite in Beaverton. We just serve the entire region, and we're able to do that effectively with our wonderful staff, which I hope you have some questions about our staff. We have a very diverse staff that Carolina oversees. Many of them are bilingual and bicultural that will serve these kids. So our program is free. I always want to mention that. And I just want to thank you so much for this opportunity, and we're happy to open it up for questions.
You got that timing down, Pat.
Did I? Oh, great.
And I can introduce myself really quickly. I'm Carolina Adriansen, and I'm the program director for Big Brothers Big Sisters Columbia Northwest. And I have been with the Big Brother Big Sister affiliation for close to 15 years, in Portland for 3 years. So I live and breathe Big Brothers Big Sisters and love this organization. And yeah, working with the communities and the parents has been a joy, and such important work now more than ever before with COVID.
Thank you. Thank you both for sharing. I will open it up to committee questions. So who would like to kick it off? Wei Wei, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you for both for doing this. And this is, I've been an educator all my life, so I just, I love it. Now, my question to you is, how do you actually identify the students that you serve?
Mm-hmm. The children are usually referred, or they can be referred from the school, the council, the counselors, the principals. Our number one referral is other parents referring their children to our program, as well as other littles who talk about their mentor to their friends, or their friends see the mentor come pick up the little that they want to know who's that. So I have to say parents and littles have been the highest referral source.
Renu, go ahead.
So I'm sure the demand for mentors is probably more than the number of, is much larger than the number that you have, right? So of the entire pool of mentees, how do you choose the ones that actually get a mentor and that others that you may not be able to help at this time?
Our matching process is very unique in the sense that we try to serve any and every child who wants and needs a mentor. We can all use a mentor. However, we know that children that are facing more adversity or are low risk, high risk. So we're really mindful to those children who need a mentor most. That said, we interview the children, the parents, the volunteers, um, and or the family, also the parent, the volunteer, and their background. So we really match based on compatibility, geographic location, interest, to make sure that they're going to want to get along and spend time with one another for 1 year. We're expecting the 1 year commitment. And I'm happy to report that we have matches that have been together for 11 years, 12 years. So the system works.
And I have one other question. So with the COVID epidemic, obviously this is happening remotely, right? The mentors and the mentees are. So is there anything that you've learned from that experience that going forward you could use a limited budget to actually reach more people?
Absolutely. COVID transformed our program like never before. So we had to get creative in how to keep these matches together, how to support them virtually. And we also learned that our families needed a lot more support and guidance. So what we learned was that we have a specialist that supports the match relationship throughout the life of the match. However, not only is a role model there to support the little, but the specialist at our agency is now providing the family and the siblings with resources, support, vouchers. It's our job to help them navigate those extra additional resources that they may have not needed prior to COVID.
I may add that the cost actually really didn't go down when we went virtual. There are extra staff time. You would think, oh, it would go down, but extra staff time. Our match support specialists became case managers overnight and social workers. They had to spend a lot more time with each party of the match, making sure they had Wi-Fi and technology, that the parents were on board. The parents needed more connection. So the cost did not really go down because of virtual. If that's what I think, that may have been what you were asking as well.
Yeah, actually that is what I was trying to get at. If you could reach more people based on the experiences with the same amount of finances, essentially. Thanks for the answer.
We're exploring the demographic or geographic location, but we want to make sure that at some point they can meet. So we want to be realistic of that opportunity as well, hopefully sooner than later.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yes, Cynthia and Carolina, thanks so much. The Big Brothers program is phenomenal, and I've had some experience the last few years, and I greatly appreciate it. I wonder if you could address the priority. The priority that you check is affordable after-school and educational programming, such as childcare, academic support, English language learner education. Can you comment as to how Big Brothers Big Sisters will work to that priority?
I can start, and then maybe Caroline, if you want, we chose that because we are finding that the mentors do help the children with their academic achievement gap that's happening by being available for them. And we are changing the model slightly. We have the community base, but it's BIGS Inspiring Scholastic Success. It's kind of a new model that's happening, EBISS, and it is academic support. It's on top of the relationship building that's happening. Like, that is the main priority. When a match connects, you got to build that connection and the consistency of the match, the relationship, but the academic support is on that. Carol, do you want to add a little bit more to that?
I mean, this model and program truly stemmed from the need based on the community and what we were seeing, the effects from COVID. We knew early in March, April, that these children were going to suffer. They were going to have a difficult time either connecting to school, having the support system, or not at home to be able to log on, do the homework. So we knew that this was going to be critical, and we needed to create a program that was specifically going to help these children after COVID or during COVID with their homework. So what we found was the volunteers, not all of them signed up to be mentors, and we're still under the umbrella of relationship building, social emotional development. But this is critical at this time due to what we're facing and also our staff. So it's the volunteers supporting the child academically. It's not their entire focus for our current matches, but it's emphasized, and it is a goal for this year. For this particular program, it will be a goal. It will be additional support for the parent. And again, the specialist as also the mediator between the volunteer, the child, the school, to be an extra support system, because most of these children, if not many of them, don't have someone who's asking them if they're doing their homework, is not asking, where are you doing your homework? Do you have a spot? Do you know how to log into the internet? So that's where we step in and help them.
Good, thank you.
I think we have time for one more question, and Lisa, I see your hand is up, so I will toss it to you.
Okay, I think you mentioned, you may have addressed this in the grant, about what cutbacks would be needed if you didn't get the full funding, or how you would manage things without the Beaverton funding, and what impact that the funding would impact on the program that you plan to get those 56 matches for.
I think
go ahead.
One of the biggest impacts would be probably we're implementing post-match training. So for volunteers, additional training, for parents, additional support and training, also parent engagement activities. I'd love to implement workshops for the parents, again, on how to support their child academically, what questions can they ask their children to be supportive and a positive influence academically. So those are some enhancements that I'm looking to build into this model that would be affected with.
And I would just add, we would just adjust our numbers if we did receive less than the 20,000. We are still committed to Beaverton. We would still support them. Carolina just released a figure today at our all staff meeting. Beaverton is the third #1 community of inquiries from littles. So first it's Portland, then Hillsborough, then Beaverton is third. I mean, we're all over. We're Southwest Washington, Gresham. So that's pretty high. But Beaverton, there are littles in Beaverton on our waiting list. That's the third most popular city. We will serve them. If we got less, the outcomes, we may not be able to show that we've served 56 in this whole complete system, but we would still serve kids in Beaverton. Does that kind of answer, Lisa, that part?
Yeah, I was really, my concern was about the numbers. I mean, how would the numbers served be affected? But the training component was good to hear too. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Well, on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap up. So Cynthia and Carolina, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate hearing from you, and hopefully we get a chance to meet in person sometime in the future. But like I said, you probably won't hear much from me before June 1st, but always feel free to reach out if you have any questions or anything you need. So
great. Thank you. And I know it's been a long night for you tonight. You've got one more. Thank you.
Thank you.
My daughter was a big sister. She loved it.
Oh, great. And Mike, you look familiar, like we know you from somewhere, Mike.
I'm a big brother. I worked with through Standard.
Oh, I thought you looked familiar. Oh, that's great. We didn't talk much about that program, but you know that. Thank you very much, Mike, and thank you, Megan, and everybody tonight. We'll let
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
okay, we got one more. We got one more, team. So I see them waiting. We'll go ahead and bring them in. And then afterwards, we'll close up. Yeah, so we have, last one is Dusty's Heart Apartment Ministries. So I'll bring them in. Hi, Kelly. And there's Erin, I think. Yep. Awesome. I can see you both. That's a good, promising start. All right, you have sound.
Now I can
test it.
I have sound now.
Yay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I will I'll just do a short intro and then turn it over to you two. So I know this is your first time kind of with this process and with this group. I'm Megan, as you know. I'm the staff liaison from the city of Beaverton side. So I'm kind of your contact if you have any questions. And the rest of these folks make up our social service funding committee. They're all volunteers and giving their time to do this, and they're all Beaverton residents. We have a mix of folks who are doing this for the first time this year, just like you, and then also some folks that have been around for several years. So they are responsible for reviewing the grants, doing the interviews, and then forwarding a recommendation to City Council. So what we have right now, we're interviewing several different organizations, 12 in total, but we have 32 applicants for the grant overall. So those 32 grant applicants had an ask of about $503,000. We have about 310 to give out. So it's not going to be an easy decision. It's definitely competitive, although thankfully we have a little bit more money than we did, a little bit more funding than we have the past year. So they will be, like I said, going through the process. The next step will be forwarding a recommendation to City Council on June 1st. So that is the next time that you will hear from me regarding a decision on funding. So June 1st is kind of the magical date for that. You probably won't hear anything between after this interview and then. So tonight you will have 5 minutes to present to the committee. I have a 1-minute warning sign and a stop sign. And then after that, we'll just open it up to 10 minutes of question and answer. And you all are closing out the night for us. You're our last interview of the night. So thanks for waiting and sticking it out with us. But I will go ahead and turn it over to you, Kelly and Erin.
Thank you. Kelly, you're muted. Kelly, we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Kelly. This is Erin. We're with Dustin's Heart, and I wanted to start off by telling you a story. And that story is about a friend of mine named Ricky. We had a team come in, and they would help us do a different things that we were doing in the ministry. And we do this event, Act of Kindness. We do it a couple of times a month. And one of the times that we did that was with this team that has come in, and we knocked on doors and we're giving out toilet paper. And so when we gave out the toilet paper, knocked on the door, she came to the door, and we explained who we were, what we were doing, and that the toilet paper was a free gift, no strings attached, and she started crying. And the reason why she was crying was because she told us that she was getting ready to go sell plasma so she could buy toilet paper and some food. We found out that her partner had just came home from the hospital after an attempted suicide. She had a 4-year-old autistic son, and she was the only breadwinner then. And the only way that she could do it was to sell the stuff that was in their house. And so there wasn't that much stuff left in her house. And so we asked her to come on over to my house, which is a ministry center. And we loaded her up with the items from the pantry. And then we were able to give her $100 worth of food for 2 months, pantry stuff for 4 months. And then her partner then was able to get a job on the 3rd month, and they got back on their feet. So I tell that story to say there's a huge need out there, and we don't give away food that often, but we give away these essentials, the things that you can't buy with food stamps, but are still essential to somebody's home life. So that's the story. Our pantry items are laundry soap, paper towels, toilet paper, hygiene items, garbage bags, foil, those kind of things. And we serve about 30 people a month, and hoping to gain an ability to do more. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly, for that overview. Should I go ahead and open it up to committee questions? All right. Anyone want to be the first one to kick it off? Go ahead, Jerome.
Thanks for your presentation, and thank you for what you do.
Oh, thanks.
I think your application said you have 2 pantry locations. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about how pantry operations work? Do people have to make reservations? Do they just walk in during hours, or how does that work?
We have 2 pantries that are on-site pantries. They're basically in my apartment, the extra room that I have, and then somebody else has theirs on this huge porch kind of thing with cabinets and all that kind of thing. The other is a mobile pantry, and that mobile pantry is full of the stuff, and we will take it out to the other complex that we have work on. It works in a way that we try to get people to do reservations, but I usually am calling the people that are on the list, telling them, hey, we're going to be in your complex on this day. Do you need to make an appointment with me? So we just started the mobile pantry, I want to say 5 months ago that we started taking it to people. So we're still kind of, getting the kinks out as far as the appointments and stuff. But the ones that are in the complexes that have it on site, they need to make a reservation and then they come in. So.
Thank you.
You bet.
Other questions? Go ahead, Lisa S.
So my question is, when you get your items, do you partner with other organizations to try to get the soap and the hygiene items donated by any organizations, or do you go out and buy them, or and what kind of community partners do you have?
Both. We accept gifts in kind, and we have some churches that will give, and we have individuals that will give, and then people that have given money for us to buy the products. Mostly we've been buying the products. As far as community partners, we do not have like an official, we're going to partner with you to do this work, but we have connections with people that they know us, we know them, in a way that I know where a food pantry is. So I can help somebody who comes to our essentials pantry, and then the person that I know at the food pantry, we can send them to there, because we can't meet all of the needs, but we can help find the resources to meet those needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but part of my question was partnering with some places, some of the food stores, or some of the, some of the other places, pharmacies, for hygiene.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. We have something going on with Costco that we're working on getting $25 of items. We're working on with trying to get something going on with Fred Meyer. They do drives at a couple of different churches for us. So we don't have a lot of partnerships right now. We're working on building those partnerships. And so that's kind of where we are with that.
Great. Looks like Lisa M., you want to go next?
Chest pain or discomfort?
I think we're getting audio from somewhere. I don't know if someone might need to mute, but okay. So I was just wondering, I noticed that you have 50 volunteers listed. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I'm just curious, as far as I appreciated the points in your application about serving people from all different backgrounds and including faith backgrounds or ethnic backgrounds, anything, and I'm sure that's essential, right, when you apply for
Yes,
public
yes,
funding, and
yes.
I'm sure you know that. But I also wonder, like, if how do you find your volunteers, and if people came that wanted to volunteer that didn't maybe share all of the organization's beliefs, how would that work? Just curious, because I think being able to get the most get help from the community is important, and from volunteers as well.
Sure, sure. One of the ways that we have that many volunteers is because, can you hear me? Okay. From that many volunteers is because when COVID hit and everything went Zoom wise, I started asking people from all over the nation if they would, that I knew, if they would volunteer and serve on these different teams. And so we have a benevolence team, and it's made up mainly of people in the Beaverton area. And so that is some of the ways that we got that many volunteers, and which was really kind of cool, using lemon to lemonade, right? So doing that, and you do not have to have a Christian faith to help us in the pantry. Yeah, and or any kind of Christian belief or any kind of faith belief to get stuff from the pantry. So
yeah, that totally answers my question. Thank you. And
okay, good.
it's exciting. We've enjoyed as a committee hearing about different organizations finding, in some ways, silver linings, right, with COVID and how Zoom, everyone's used to Zoom, and we can connect over distance now. So that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. Oh, Lisa, did you have another?
No, I think Erin, you're on mute. Yeah, I think I saw Erin was talking, but you're on mute. You can go ahead though. You can unmute.
Okay, now I'm not muted. I had a friend that I feel like this is where you were going with that question. I had a friend from work who, as I'm talking about what I'm doing with Kelly and helping her, she said, I want to help too. And I texted Kelly, and, the question wouldn't even come up with Kelly. Well, does she have a Christian faith? Kelly's response is great. Let's have her help. It's not even, she wouldn't even ask that. Just like, awesome. We've got help to help these people. So did that make sense? Okay.
I think we have time for one more question if we have it. Wei Wei? You're on mute still, Wei Wei, just FYI.
Yes. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I have a question on the program's impact, how you measure that. And I'm reading your application. You talked about the survey, and also your goal is to serve more families like 60 plus, right?
Right.
Now, are all of these families sort of in the same or similar needs for stuff? Clearly, if somebody needs toilet paper versus someone who needs food, the needs are totally different, right?
Right.
So are you considering that at all? If you have limited funding and you can either buy toilet paper or you can buy food, clearly food will be more important. So can you explain that a little bit?
Sure.
Also, the last sentence you mentioned about the survey and also rate the products we offer. Are you talking about the products that you bring to them, like
we gave point systems to things, and would kind of let people say, okay, give them that many points and be able to get different items with the points that they had. So that's one of the ways that we were going to go, especially if we were going to be more limited. And so they might not be able to get everything in the pantry that we offer, but they would be able to pick and choose what was most important to them. Like if they were going to get double the amount of toilet paper instead of another, or the freezer bags and the sandwich bags and that kind of thing, then they could pick that. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is that as far as the need, I think that was your first part of the question, was figuring out the need. Okay, one of the things that we have been doing, I got this from Mission Arlington, which does the same kind of things with people with their needs and stuff, is that we do ask, you know, what is their, what kind of asset kind of thing do they have? Like, do they have a job? Does their partner have a job? Those kind of things. And we've asked before what kind of income that they have, and make sure that they know that, you know, it's totally confidential, those kind of things. And that it's not going to mean that they don't get anything, but it's for us to be able to say, okay, what is the real need and who has the real need? So if somebody makes quite a bit of money, but they have quite a big rent bill and those kind of things, there's still a big need. And so we will help out that way. Now, as far as food or the essentials stuff, is the food, we know a lot of food pantry resources in the area. And so we partner kind of, you know, when the question above was if we partner with groups, but there are several people that I know in food pantries that we will send people, or we will even help them get there if they don't have rides, to help them with the food. We want to be able to do the emergency food thing. And I know that that's part of what we've asked for, is that emergency food thing, like we did with Ricky, who had no food and was going to go sell plasma for food, that we give them $75 to $100 for that month to get back on their feet. So does that help?
Yes. How do you assign points to people to serve?
Okay. So everybody, it depends on the number of people in their family. And it depends on, that would depend on what they get as far as points. And then we assign point values to the things in the pantry. Like toilet paper would be for 6 rolls of toilet paper, it would be 3 points. For a monster big jug of laundry soap, it would be 2 points, those kind of things.
I'm on mute. Okay, there we go. I think with that is actually the time we have for questions. So Kelly and Aaron, thanks for joining us. Like I said, you probably won't hear much from me before June 1st, but feel free to reach out if there's anything you need from me at all. And yeah, we won't keep you any longer, any later. So have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I am just going to wrap up. I think that is our last interview for the evening. And with that, we are done with the first night.
I like doing 6. 6 seems like a more doable number. You don't get overwhelmed by interview after interview.